The slap echoed through the cafeteria like a gunshot, sharp, sudden, unforgettable. 40 inmates froze mid-step, mid-breath, mid-chew, while an old man stumbled backward, barely catching himself on the cold metal table. And for the first time in years inside Greywall Penitentiary, every prisoner shared the exact same thought. This won't go unanswered. The guard who delivered it, Officer Hale, stood with his fist still half raised, shock flickering in his eyes as if he himself didn't believe what he had done. But the damage was done. Respect shattered. Fear shifted. A silent promise filled the room like smoke. It was the moment the balance of power cracked. The moment a forgotten old inmate became the spark that lit a fire no one saw coming. And none of them, not the frightened rookies, not the hardened guards, not even the warden himself, realized that they were about to witness the most unexpected rise of unity inside those walls, led by the very man they overlooked every day. The cafeteria had been unusually calm that afternoon. Metal trays clattered, voices murmured, and the smell of lukewarm stew hung in the stale air. At the edge of the room sat Elias Ward, a 70-year-old inmate with silver hair, soft eyes, and hands that once trembled with purpose. He wasn't feared. He wasn't loud. He wasn't strong. He was simply invisible. To the inmates, to the guards, to the world outside, Elias had been at Greywall for nearly 26 years, a lifetime for some. And in all that time, he had never lifted a hand in violence. He cooked. He cleaned. He repaired things. He made others laugh in a place where laughter was rare. Even the younger inmates called him Uncle Eli. He was the closest thing to a gentle soul, in a place built entirely on concrete and cruelty. Officer Hale, on the other hand, was everything Elias wasn't. Young, tall, sharp-featured, with impatience stitched into every step he took. Hale had spent only 8 months at Greywall, but carried himself like a man who already understood the place. But deep inside, he didn't understand anything. He only understood anger. And today, his anger needed somewhere to land. The argument began as something small. Elias asking Hale why another inmate's food portion had been tossed to the floor. A simple question. A question Hale didn't want to hear. The guard snapped at him, telling him to mind his own business. But Elias didn't move. He stood still, voice calm. That calmness, the quiet refusal to shrink, infuriated Hale. And in one reckless moment, the young guard struck the old man across the face. The cafeteria froze. The sound didn't just echo, it shattered the room. Elias stumbled, falling against the table, breath ripped from his lungs. The prisoners watched, shocked, angry, confused. Some stood, some clenched fists, some whispered Elias's name. Hale instantly regretted the slap, but he masked it with hard breathing and a squared jaw. The guards near the door exchanged glances, quietly stepping closer. And in the very center of everything, Elias touched his cheek and smiled faintly. Not out of joy, but out of understanding. He knew this wasn't about him. It was about something inside Hale the young man didn't know how to control. Yet something else happened, something Hale didn't expect. One by one, inmates stood from their seats, slow, deliberate, united, a ripple of bodies rising, a wave of eyes turning toward Hale like judgment. 40 prisoners, 40 hearts beating louder, 40 men witnessing an old man humiliated publicly by someone meant to protect order. And when the warden reviewed the camera footage an hour later, when the whispers spread through the prison halls, when every guard realized the inmates weren't scared anymore, everything began to change. But the biggest change of all would come not from anger, but from Elias himself. Warden Briggs summoned Officer Hale to his office that same evening. Hale entered with his jaw tight, his pride still holding him upright even though guilt gnawed at him. He expected a reprimand, a brief suspension, maybe a warning. He did not expect Elias, the old man he struck, to be sitting quietly in the corner of the room. Elias looked up, gave a small nod, and said nothing. The warden cleared his throat. Hale, Briggs began, you didn't just hit an inmate. You hit the most respected man in this facility. And you hit him in front of nearly every prisoner in the cafeteria. Hale swallowed hard, heat rushing up his neck. You've endangered yourself. Briggs continued. You've endangered other guards, and you've disrupted the fragile peace we maintain in here. Hale wanted to argue, to defend himself, to say that Elias had provoked him, but when he met Elias's calm, tired eyes, the words died. The warden leaned forward. The prisoners want punishment. They want blood. But that, he exhaled, won't happen under my watch. Instead, he laid down a sentence far worse for a man like Hale. You will work under Elias Ward for the next 60 days. Hale blinked. Work under him? Sir, he's an inmate. Wes. And for the next 2 months, he's your instructor. You'll fix what he fixes. Clean what he cleans. Learn what he teaches. And until he says otherwise, your authority means nothing. It was humiliation. A guard placed beneath a prisoner. A reversal of roles no guard had endured before. Elias's voice finally broke the silence. Soft, gentle, controlled. I didn't ask for punishment, he said. I asked for change. A warden. Briggs nodded. This is how it begins. And so it began. For 60 days, Hale followed Elias across the prison like a silent shadow. Together they repaired broken pipes, rewired old lights, fixed leaks, handed out meals, and spoke to inmates Hale once ignored. At first, Hale hated every second. Every door they opened felt like a reminder of his mistake, every task a humiliation. But slowly, day by day, something shifted. Elias wasn't teaching him how to repair things. Elias was teaching him how to see people, how to see hurt behind anger, history behind hostility, humanity behind hardened faces. Hale learned that Elias had once been a schoolteacher, that he had lost his family. That prison had taken everything except his belief in dignity, even for guards who didn't show him any. One afternoon, while fixing a shelf in the library, Hale finally broke. I'm sorry, he whispered, hands trembling. Not for the punishment, for the slap, for everything. Elias placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Anger can destroy a man from the inside, the old inmate said. But responsibility can rebuild him. From that moment forward, the two worked as a team, not guard and inmate, but two men learning to coexist in a place designed to divide them. Prisoners noticed the change. Guards noticed it too. Harmony, fragile yet real, returned to Greywall. By the end of the 60 days, Hale stood in the middle of the cafeteria, 40 inmates around him, and publicly apologized to Elias, without being ordered to. And the prisoners, instead of retaliating, nodded in respect. Forgiveness spread through the room like warm light. Elias had not only prevented chaos, he had healed the very man who harmed him. And in a place built for punishment, he taught everyone the meaning of redemption.